It began with an uneasy silence in the reception area. One of those silences that comes right before a thunderstorm. I was mid-conversation with a client when I felt it, a shift in the room's energy. Then the glass doors to the main lobby flew open so hard they nearly bounced off the hinges, and in walked Karen Blake, head of the local HOA and self-declared queen of this entire office complex. She strutted in like she owned the place, heels clicking like gunshots, silk scarf flying behind her like a cape. Her lips were curled into a smirk so sharp it could cut steel. "There he is," she snapped, jabbing a finger at me in front of everyone. "You're done. Fired. Pack your little desk and leave my building." Gasps and murmurs rippled across the room. I stayed seated. For context, Karen wasn't my boss. I worked as a financial consultant in a leased office suite, but she was the building manager and president of the HOA in our neighborhood. She had 2 levels of control over my life and abused both with the elegance of a cartoon villain. Clients glanced at me, unsure. I calmly closed my folder, smiled politely and said, "Let's reschedule for tomorrow." My clients nodded and left, shooting wary glances back at Karen, who looked like she just won an Olympic medal in petty revenge. She leaned in close. "You've always been mediocre. No ambition, no style, just a seat filler wasting everyone's time. I'm finally getting rid of you." I said nothing, because 6 weeks earlier, I had made a decision that would unravel her entire empire. You see, I was never the flashy type, just a regular guy running a modest firm helping people plan their futures. But I had been quietly saving, investing, and recently inherited a decent sum from my godfather. Enough to make a bold move, so I did. When I learned the building I worked in was up for sale, I didn't hesitate. I set up an anonymous investment company, filed the paperwork, and made a solid offer. It was accepted within 10 days. Karen had no idea. While she was busy sending passive-aggressive emails about desk clutter and measuring the length of our blinds to make sure they matched regulation, I was becoming her landlord. The final closing was just last week. I signed the last document at 8:45 a.m. The ownership change was effective at 9 a.m., 10 minutes before she tried to fire me. Back in the lobby, I stood up slowly and nodded. "You're right, Karen," I said quietly. "Change is long overdue." I walked out without another word. As I exited the building, I pulled out my phone and made a call she couldn't help but overhear. "Hi, Lisa. The ownership transfer is finalized. Go ahead and issue the management transition notices to all tenants today." I didn't even have to look back to know she heard me. The silence behind me was deafening. The next morning, I arrived with a fresh cup of coffee and a brand new team of property managers. Every entrance had a new notice posted, effective immediately. This building is under the ownership and management of Horizon Equity Group. All prior administrative roles have been dissolved. All inquiries should be directed to our new office manager, Ben Carter. I took a seat behind the security monitors, sipping my coffee as the scene unfolded. At 8:57 a.m., Karen arrived, swiped her card, red light, denied. She blinked, confused. Tried again, nothing. Then came the pounding. Ben greeted her politely at the door, explaining that the building had changed hands. She barged past him, heading straight for her old office. "Locked. Where's my key?" she shouted. Ben calmly handed her an envelope. It contained her termination notice. She stared at the letter, her hands trembling. "You can't do this," she whispered. "I didn't," I said, stepping off the elevator. "The building did." She turned, eyes wide. "You?" "Yes. Horizon Equity Group is my company, and I've had a front row seat to your management style for years. Effective immediately, your position is terminated. Your personal belongings will be packed and sent to your home address." She lost it, kicked over a chair, screamed at the receptionist, accused everyone of betrayal. She picked up a paperweight and hurled it across the room. It shattered on the tile floor. Then she tried to unplug a server. Ben called security. As they tried to guide her out, she slapped one of the guards and called him a mall cop reject. That's when the police were called. She barricaded herself behind the front desk like a child playing castle defense. Officers arrived within minutes. Karen screamed threats, warned she would sue, claimed this is harassment, and even tried to bite an officer. She was arrested and escorted out in handcuffs. A week later, she faced multiple charges: assault, disorderly conduct, and destruction of property. The judge issued her a $6,000 fine, 80 hours of community service, and a restraining order barring her from the building. Then came the neighborhood fallout. Her HOA board held an emergency vote, thanks to the viral video of her meltdown captured beautifully by 2 tenants and posted online. They unanimously removed her as president. Her face said it all. Stunned silence. The woman who once ruled over thermostats and parking lines was officially powerless. And me? I got back to work. Same office, same desk, but a whole new view. If you enjoy watching toxic tyrants get exactly what they deserve, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got plenty more true stories coming your way.